to just very quickly remind, and I'm going to be a little annoying about this for everybody, the cybersecurity training that we have. We really need to get this done by March 10th. Most of us still need to complete this one, and this will impact our insurance rates if we don't get this one done. So if the hardest part of the training is getting logged in. So, yeah. Yeah. And so I had Brian King help me, and then once he got, and then once I was in, it was really easy. The hardest part of the training is getting into the training. No, I had to call and get some help too.
I went upstairs and had them log me in and then took my computer.
Yes.
The training?
Awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
I haven't even tried it yet. But we have to get IT to help us?
Yeah, that would probably be the easiest. I would just reach out to Brian. Okay, there we go. Perfect. You will need your ID number that's on your badge. It did not work for Maryland though, so I don't actually know. Okay. Yes.
Did you get a new number? They give you your old one.
They should have given me an old one, but it's zero. It didn't come out.
Okay. Okay. So we can follow up, but yeah, if you're having trouble, I would just automatically reach out to Brian King if I can give any advice and just like, help me log in or sign into this. All right. Then we will go ahead and start looking at the agenda. I usually work my way down through. Do we have any questions on ordinances for final passage? So we'll be looking to do the final reading for the welcoming city and the rules of council.
Is there any movement on adding that one word, legal immigrants, to your resolution?
So it is throughout here. So going through this, it says throughout here that this is all has to follow and comply with law. So
One word is all I asked for. The mayor was interviewed by Flowers on Go Erie, and
Yeah.
she referred to legal immigrants. Did you not? Unless I misread it.
I think when
I'm not trying
Kevin,
to make a big thing out of this, but it is a big thing. I want legal people protected.
Yeah, I guess I'm not trying to say it's insinuated in this ordinance, but it is insinuated that there is a legal process that it has to be followed, and that we're not prohibiting anybody who's breaking the law from not being held accountable by the law.
One word would say
I
that.
think that if that's the case, as stated, I don't think the one word would make the issue granted. I would defer to the solicitor, even though it's you know, it should be understood. I don't think our colleague's asking for a lot unless there's some legal implication.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big thing, just to
I
change the
guess-
one word,
But
because,
where, I guess I would just need clarification on where. Where is that word being asked to be
yeah,
put?
it's just an interpretive thing that, you know, if it's taken in the wrong context,
I don't think it's anything that delays it.
Right.
I think you offer up a friendly amendment, and I think that if you want to insert it now, you insert it and you ask
Yeah,
our
before we-
solicitor
right.
before
Yeah.
we.
can we get clarity on where?
Clarity on, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
my,
absolutely. You know where, Ed?
Pardon me?
Where you want?
Where?
to
where's the word legal that
Right
you
at
would
the
like to
very
have added?
beginning. Be it resolved that, I don't have it in front of me right now. When I was reading
We can
the
get there.
Welcome America thing.
would you like to see the ordinance?
Yes.
Yeah.
Morning.
Good morning.
Can I just officially say I missed you all? I did.
Would it be in perhaps maybe the definition of citizenship or immigration status?
We have it up here, we'll just wait for where, I mean, I think that's a question.
Unless the solicitor can make a suggestion where, and then, because I believe that he could. Oh, I'm sorry.
Most of you might use the word legal, however, my concern is the word legal immigrant falls under several subcategories of immigration. I would like to just point out that the immigration status this is under, third line down, definition of citizenship or immigration status. Immigration status refers to the type of authorization a non-citizen has for presence in the United States. And then actually specifies lawful permanent resident, conditional permanent resident, visa holder, temporary protected status, or undocumented among other status. So these are, so undocumented, it doesn't mean that they're necessarily illegal.
It means they're a refugee in the process of
Okay,
going
so it
through the
shouldn't matter
immigration
then,
process.
because that's where it's implied,
I don't think it matters.
and there's legal.
Undocumented.
They're all legal.
They all, those
So
are,
like,
yeah.
this falls under, like, I mean, there's the kids who are brought over, like, since they were.
The DACA dreamers.
They may not know how they got into the country, but they've been here since. So there's like, they have a certain legal status because of that situation.
They're all legal, and so they're all covered, and so I think it's really just a matter of you, as the solicitor, inserting it somewhere.
But I think the definition specifically lays out which legal types of immigrants we're talking about. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It does if you're.
So if it doesn't
the-
fall, so if the person is an immigrant, but doesn't fall into one of those categories, they're probably illegal. That's
Okay.
how I would look at
Say
it.
like, could you say like,
In,
I mean, it clearly defined what legal is right there. All of those categories. Anything outside of that, you would not be legal.
You would be considered illegal, correct.
adding the word legal in front of immigration status?
There's a whereas clause.
There is,
okay.
if you look on the fifth whereas clause, right on the first page, I'm just supposing, again, I'm not sure exactly where Mr. Brzezinski would like it placed, but the fifth whereas clause says, whereas the city is committed to ensuring access to all residents, including immigrants, to fully participate in civic life, including democratic space with civic engagement programs. That's the only place that I see initially where
You could put legal immigrants.
maybe that's what you're asking.
That would
And the only thing that I would push back, Mr. Brzezinski, because I'm trying to help you get there, but the only thing that I would push back is as this, that would be for consideration for this body and our solicitor and the mayor and my colleagues, is that Erie this is a welcoming city thing, and I don't care what their status is, just me personally. And so I don't want to codify not protecting people who reside in the city of Erie, because I'm not irregardless, that's not a word, but regardless of one's status, they still deserve some protection under the law. And so,
I hear what you're saying, Andre, and the bottom line is this. When we're talking about immigrants, all of us at one time or another were. Now we're American
well, I wasn't an
citizens
immigrant.
first.
I'm not an immigrant. All of us were not immigrants at one time or another.
Unless you're an Indian, you
Yeah,
were.
yeah, well, some of us are here, some of that's disputable, because history, as you know it, may not be the same history as I know it, and I'm not still sold on the Columbus Indian story, and so that's open for interpretation as well.
Or we digress. My point is this, when I say legal immigrant, if somebody is here and they haven't done the paperwork officially or whatever, then we help them get it. But I don't want somebody coming here who knows that ICE is gonna attack Buffalo and come here.
I think we're getting too
Being
far in the
felon.
weeds. That's like saying I don't want homeless people to come here because they know that Erie is a welcoming, giving city, and we know that they dump them here. And so, I mean, you can vote your conference, but I don't think,
I say we
just
call
me
a vote.
personally, I think that I leave it like it is
Yeah.
with everything. I think we examined it. I'm just one opinion. I think we examined it, unless you have a specific place where you would like to see it inserted that we could further talk about it, then I vote it up or vote it
or
down.
can you say something like at this current time, these blah, blah, blah are considered under legal
Yeah,
status?
so that was why we expanded that citizenship and immigration status, the definition out so far, so that it does include the various, because even the term immigrant is not fully inclusive of what this ordinance, like we have those who are seeking asylum, we have those who are refugee, right? And so within that, it does lay out that there has to be a specific status given to that person
That would make them
for this
legal.
to be applied, right? And so it also says that they have to, people still have to follow the law, and the police still have the right to uphold the law, and we're not infringing upon that anyway. So that was why that paragraph spelled out so far. And I'm afraid if we add in those terms, especially towards just the word immigration, that we're missing a large subset of people, because it's really nuanced.
How do we want our, I guess if our police officer or ICE encounters someone who would not fall in those categories, how do we want them to, like, what do we want them to do in this situation?
They still have to, I mean, whatever the original, if they've committed a crime, then they have to be held accountable for that crime. This is just saying that if we did a traffic stop, and in that traffic stop, it was just for a red light, we're not also going to then call ICE on them if we find out a status. We're going to initiate the process around the traffic stop, and we're not going to use our tax dollars to carry out somebody else's
Or
thing.
that if there's a language barrier, the first thing to do isn't to call ICE or Border Patrol to get an interpreter when there are other means to get the information that you need. Right now, we are doing our due diligence to make sure that the residents that are in our city, in our community, whether or not they are in the document process of being a refugee, asylum seeker, someone who ran from foreign wars, who are DACA recipients. These are members of our community who probably are legal immigrants going through the process, and the process has been changed within the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So for us to sit here and say, yes, we're all immigrants, yes this, yes that, but we want to put in somewhere, but obviously we don't know where, is kind of redundant on what we're trying to do. So I'm an advocate on, I support it. I think we should call the vote. If someone doesn't know exactly where they want to put the word illegal, then they need to do a little bit more homework.
I don't think they asked to put the word illegal, so I don't want to mischaracterize it, our colleagues' statements, but I will say that the intent of the ordinance is, the resolution is not to obstruct anyone from doing their job. It's to say that we're a welcoming city. And I think we're getting too far in the weeds into it, but I like the discussion. I was just interested in what Mr. Brzezinski wanted and where.
If you go through the ordinance, you'll see in multiple places where it says that the local authorities, our local police department, can exercise their authority to arrest someone, to investigate someone, whether they're legal or illegal. So there's nothing in the ordinance itself that specifically restricts our Erie police force from doing their jobs. Just want to point that out.
Dr. Titus, if I could just add on the clarification for Mr. Troop. Again, and to Mr. Brzezinski's point, even when I spoke to Mr. Flowers, we are clarifying language here. We are not adding anything. So I have been very, very, very clear with our police chief. We've had this conversation multiple times. We do not enforce federal law. It is not ever our work to do that. Federal agents do that. So we have been clear that if a law is broken, if federal law is broken, we support the enforcement of that, but it's not our duty. And when we come across a crime being committed, if there is action that needs to be taken, we will take it. But to Dr. Titus's point, if it is administrative in nature, it's a traffic stop in nature, we'll deal with that issue. We will not necessarily then go into immigration. That's not our job. So it's clarification of language. It is not an addition. I want to be very clear. This is codifying what we already do.
There'll be no initial cost involved to the city to reach the third level or whatever SAR we want to be?
To
No
be
cost
honest,
involved?
to be honest with you, Mr. Brzezinski, I'm not entirely sure what the third star. I know it will require probably more policies. I do not believe more costs will be involved. We can certainly look into that and come back to you. This application today only gets us back to 1 star, so we haven't even gone down the road of 3. I know Dr. Titus has noted that's the goal, but this ordinance and what you're doing today only gets us back to 1. There is no cost for that.
And to that point, I would like to add a friendly amendment to section 130703, adding an E, and that says the city shall seek to collaborate with other governing bodies in carrying out the ordinance to help in the cost saving. So if we see the county is doing something, the school is doing something, or another municipality, is that we can help each other get there in an effort to help break down some costs that might come about. So I'll ask that when we are going to go in for that second reading. That will be under section 137.03, we'll be adding an F, or I'm sorry, adding an E. Oh, sorry, G, yeah, I can do the alphabet there. There we go, yes, I was going the wrong direction. Thank you. All right. Any other questions, just to keep us on track? We have the first reading for the Erie zoning to designate the Erie Cemetery. This is what we had the public hearing on. So this is just updating the zoning map to reflect what we had the public hearing on, but designating historic. If there's no questions on that, do we have any questions on new business?
I have a question about new business. Has this group come to council before to talk about the need for their license?
No. Lori, could you remind me, this is the one who will come our next meeting to do a brief, they'll have a public hearing about it?
Okay.
So the reason that the liquor license is before us on this one, before we do the public hearing, is the sandbar, this is in transferring the sandbar, they had a 2-year what's called safe holding on it. That safe holding expires before our next meeting. So if we didn't approve this transfer to move it from a Mill Creek, so we're moving a business from Mill Creek essentially into the city with this license, it would lapse and they would have to submit a $10,000 additional fee to move it. And so they had asked that we put this on to transfer the license, but then we'll have a public hearing about the business itself at our next meeting.
How long have they had this, and why is it just coming such a last-minute rush thing? Because I don't think, I'm all for business coming to the city. The process kind of matters, and they've had it a year.
Yeah. What was relayed to us is the attorney on this case was brand new. And so I think I think that same sentiment was expressed.
I think that with the fact that we're always transferring liquor license into the city, that there's a process that this has to go through, and that businesses who have this in mind need to understand that council isn't going to be so willing to just rush a process through to have a hearing after the fact. Because we're not going to be able to hear from the residents or the community on whether or not they feel that they even want this new business. And the fact that we're going to rush this also limits any ability for anybody else to buy the liquor license in the future, because we're going to automatically grandfather in the business who already has it.
Isn't there already a bar at 21 Hampton? I mean, there's been one there for years, right? That's been there for, yeah.
Right over
If
by
I
the
may-
boys' baseball field.
Yeah, so is this the same location?
Yeah, Amy Francis from zoning is here. If she can probably give you a brief history of the property perhaps, and then just explain the process of what today's vote means and then what would be the future consideration.
Yeah, I took a look at the transfer when I saw it on agenda and just knew that we had an existing bar. It does exist in an R1 zoning district. It has lapsed some time for the liquor license, the food license. Those are some of my normal checks that I do when I'm looking at a legal establishment. These ones are quite lengthy, 3 years plus. So at that point, nobody had called. I know that there was some interior demolition work going on. We have not received any requests for permit application or anything yet. So this is new. That's why I just wanted to make sure you guys knew it is in an R1 district, which does not permit eating and drinking. With the timeline, I'm not sure what process that looks like. I'm just trying to give you some good information of where it's located at, that we probably want to take a look at this.
So just
Just real quick, this location, 21 Hampton Bar and Grill was what the bar was called. The owner passed away in 2021. His name was Daniel Bishop. And I think that probably the property and the liquor license that were there were tied up with the estate. So the liquor license for 21 Hampton Bar is not the liquor license. That must have been sold as part of the estate. So that may explain the gap of several years. So he died, like I said, in 2021.
I have a little knowledge. they were in safekeeping because this was connected to the sandbar that was directly connected to that location in Mill Creek. So this owner is keeping the same license, just moving it to a different location within the city, which he could probably explain all that at the public hearing. We're just advertising so that we meet the timeline to have 2 public hearings at the next meeting, and then we would have to vote at the August or April 1st meeting because their deadline expires April 11th. And, they did apologize that, it was the owner of the business that went to the attorney that just wants to move the location. It's the same owner keeping their license, but and it's 5,000, I found out,
Okay.
not 10,000.
So for clarification, we're not approving the transfer, we're approving for the advertisement of the public hearing
Okay.
with this resolution.
And just thank you for that clarification, and the license isn't changing hands.
Yeah.
It's just changing locations,
Okay.
moving from Mill Creek to the city. Thank you, that's very helpful.
It is very helpful, thank you.
So in other words, like I used to go to the Sandbar for open mic nights. So the people who own the Sandbar are going to try
The
it?
person who owned the license.
The person who owned the license, okay.
I don't know if it's necessarily the person who owned.
All right, because I looked it up online, and like there's houses right next door, like you said, it's residential, and I just don't want it to be
Nuisance bar.
a nuisance bar.
Excuse me,
Could
isn't
you-
that non-conforming use there that had been a bar for years?
Well, and I think that brings up some of the
Right.
points that Amy had just made.
Yeah,
that
if
we're
it
gonna
was
have to get a lot of this-
existing
Is it still under
non-conforming,
non-conforming?
the question would be the timeline. How long has it not been existing?
Okay.
Okay. So I think we better
You
hold
answered
except
that
for us at the
question,
next
Amy.
public
Well,
hearing.
I'll have to do a little more digging. I got some done. We have a process that we do for all of our locations like that. We check with liquor control. We check with public health department to make sure the food license, when did they expire? Were they let go on their own? Did they terminate because of another reason? There's a couple extra checks that we do need to do on this one.
Did it have a history of a nuisance in the past?
Not in my experience, and not that I can find in the zoning record.
Thank
I
you.
think it was a neighborhood bar for the most part.
Yeah, I think that, interesting. I think that this gets us the public hearing and the notification that we have to, and I think that we should have more dialogue
Yeah.
about going further, because she raises some interesting concerns.
Yeah, I
And
definitely.
I don't want to violate I get them, the owner, but I'm working for the residents, not the owner.
Yeah, I think the residents that are neighboring this new property of bar or business, whatever it's going to end up being, should definitely be aware that this is going to be happening so they could participate in the public hearing and say, experience of what they experienced with the past bar and what they might want to see improved with the new one, because they're there, they know what's coming and going, and they have personal experience, so.
Neighborhoods change and neighbors do also.
Yep.
Just in looking at the time, I do want to just ask the public, I guess, to bear with us, because we have a couple more things that I would like us to just get a little bit more clarification on. If we could go over real quickly the Soccer Foundation donation, and then also just the transfer, because I know we've had some questions around that, around the curb cuts.
Sure, thank you, Dr. Titus. So with regard to the Soccer Foundation, this is a grant that was applied for by the county. The Soccer Foundation had put out a grant program to increase, I think, soccer play in the United States in light of the World Cup being in locations here this year. So the county had applied for the grant, and they had a couple of locations in mind. They came to the city in late 2025 and said Frontier Park and Nate Levy Park. Nate Levy, for those of you that don't know, is on 2nd Street between German and Holland, were good locations for this. They then came to us in January and said the grant had been approved. We at the city were a little concerned because no one had spoken to neighbors, to your point, Ms. Flores. So we held a meeting with BEST, that neighborhood organization, talked to the neighbors about this. Essentially what this is, it's a hard surface that will be put on top of the existing tennis court there at Nate Levy Park and create, thank you, Ms. Watson has a lovely visual for all of you, and essentially create a hard surface play area that could be used for soccer, pickleball, tennis, whatever the neighbors decide. We did hear some concern from some residents about noise in the park, lighting in the park, so we agreed to work with them. This package that we're going to get from the Soccer Foundation includes lighting. We can use it or we don't have to, again, working with the neighbors. So all in all, we think it's a positive investment in the east side of Erie, in a park in a neighborhood that rarely gets it. So we are excited. The neighbors were in favor of this for the most part, and so we're asking you to just approve the gift from the Soccer Foundation. Any questions on that?
I guess my only question would have been, did they not know that wherever the old, what is it, the work release program, or is that where it's at? The big field where all the neighbor, I think it's over there.
This is by Hammond Hospital.
Are
Yeah.
you talking about 16?
Yeah, I'm talking about 16th, where
okay.
everybody already gathers and plays soccer. Did they not know that that was an area that?
This had to go on top of an existing hard
Oh, okay.
surface. So they were looking for basically tennis courts that they
To
could
cover.
place this right on
I
top
think
of.
it's a great.
I mean, it's a good idea. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just curious on why that area of the neighborhood. when
We were
there's-
also curious,
Yeah.
but that was the answer we were
Okay.
given. Thank you.
Probably because the Erie Refocus Plan is going to be coming along the bayfront coast there, and I think the residents deserve something.
Right.
Yes, thank you. Any other questions on that one? Okay, and then on the transfer, Dr. Titus, so you'll see that you're talking about the curb
Yes.
cuts, yes? So we have requested, this is reprogramming of CDBG dollars, $204,246.33 that was allocated for handicap curb cuts to be used this year for street reconstruction. Mr. Sayers has created a lengthy spreadsheet that I'm happy to pass out to all of you that really shows, and I think what you'll see here is this. We are every year trying to piece together enough money to pave our streets.
Yep.
And I would love to have a conversation with all of you at some point about how we do this in a better fashion, because we do not have enough dollars. But from year to year, you'll see at the top of this spreadsheet, you know, in 2026, we're hoping to piece together a little over $2 million for paving. To get there, we are adding in liquid fuels dollars. Those are dollars we do not have control over. Those come from the state. We get what we get. We have some capital funds we can contribute, some CDBG dollars we can use in those areas. But to get a little over 2 million, which is what we really would like to have, you'll see in 25 we had over 3 million. We couldn't get there this year. We are asking you to reprogram this 204,000. This was unused from curb cuts in 24. We have additional 300,000 coming in for curb ramps in 26. So we will continue to do these curb ramps. And I clarified with the streets department, essentially what we're doing is every time we're paving a street, if it needs a curb ramp, we're putting one in. So the dollars kind of go hand in hand. You need the paving dollars to do the streets, and then you need the curb money to do the ramp there. That's how we're making these determinations. We would like to just go through the city and pave every street and do every ramp, but as you see and as you know from our budget, we're piecing the dollars together. So we're asking you to take this unused money from 24, allow us to use it for paving this year, and it will then stand along with our curb ramp money, which is 300,000, so we can do this work in concert. Again, we would love to have more money than this, and at some point, maybe we can all talk about that, but we are literally just trying to piece together enough from year to year.
I get it, and we should talk about it in the form of community benefit agreements.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous for us to have these type of issues, and we award taxpayer dollars to the big RACP programs, and we don't get anything about it. All the construction vehicles come from out of town. All the employees come from out of town. They use our services, our streets, tear them up, and then we're left to struggle to try to pay for them. So I would welcome any of those conversations on community benefit agreements.
I do have to agree that one of the biggest things that residents continuously say is that the road conditions are so horrible, that our taxes are so high. Why are our roads in the conditions that they're in? And when I explain to people that we have no funds to literally redo the roads, that we have to piece together everything, they don't understand why. And then when you break it down that we get certain funds from certain things, and we can use funds here and we can use funds there, and then sometimes we'll get money but only in certain neighborhoods, they just don't quite understand why they're paying so much in taxes. So I do want us to have a conversation on what we can do to actually get funds for our streets and our roads, because it is a necessity, and our cars bear the brunt of the wear and tear. Like, we even know ourselves, and a lot of residents complain, or they're not necessarily complain. They, they mention, they say, they experience difficulties with our roads, so.
And I do want to say, in the past, as many of you probably know, many years ago, the city of Erie would do bond issues for street paving. This is very bad practice. It's gotten us to some of our debt concerns that we have, so we don't do that anymore, I'm proud to say. We do use CDBG dollars. I have notified our Public Works Department, I want us to get away from that too. That is also really not great practice, but again, we're doing what we can with what we have. So we agree, when PFM comes, these are some conversations we can have with them, you know, to your point, Mr. Horton or others, what are other communities doing? How do we provide the service? But the dollars are limited.
And it's non-sustainable. And again, I said at the last meeting that at some point we're going to have to practice some austerity, and it's going to cost services. And my final remark would be, I watched our streets get paved, and then a week after they pave it, I watched the Water Authority come and do street cuts, which is crazy. And so I would like to see better coordination, because we spend all of that money on it, and a week later, they've actually compromised the street.
I have also asked for that and been told, I think this year for sure, we've met with our utility companies to make sure we're all doing this in coordination. So we agree, that's a very poor use of dollars, and I hope this year we have more coordination to avoid that.
I blew out a tire last week, brand new tire, so it cost me almost $200, so I get it. It was a road cut that was filled in, but it must have sunk or something.
Yeah.
Excuse me. The only request that I would have is perhaps could we also change the verbiage so that this could say like ADA
Yes.
handcuff, or,
Yes.
you know, thank you.
We'll let CDBG know. Yep, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? We are at 9:04. Sorry,
I
yes.
just want to draw your attention to number 6 in contracts. I don't know if this has come to your attention, but they are CoStar's vendor. They received their CoStar's number this week. Pittsburgh Laundry. That was brought up on our agenda.
Could you explain what I don't think the audience can hear you, sorry, but what a CoStar vendor, what does that mean?
So CoStar's is,
So just for those who are following, we're looking under contracts number 6.
number 6. Pittsburgh Laundry obtained their CoStar's number this week. CoStar's is a program that provides equipment for municipal organizations such as ourselves at a reasonable price.
Okay.
And it changes the way bidding process goes. Bidding process is less strict when a company is a CoStar's vendor because they've jumped through all the hoops to become that kind of vendor.
Okay.
And so this is a local company in our state, and we were looking for that type of business. We did look at several different organizations, but this particular machine is the best machine that they can find, that they used for 25 years and preferred, and the best service package that they could find amongst all the vendors. So,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. If council members are okay, we'll go ahead and call the caucus to close and reset the room and get ready for our meeting.